Former President Donald Trump has issued a statement regarding ongoing protests in Iran, saying the United States would intervene if the Iranian government uses violence against peaceful demonstrators. The announcement has drawn attention from foreign policy analysts and raised questions about what such intervention might look like. Here's what we know about the statement and the context surrounding it. Iran has experienced multiple waves of public demonstrations over recent years, with protesters raising concerns about economic conditions, governance issues, and civil liberties. According to human rights organizations, previous demonstrations have sometimes been met with strong responses from Iranian authorities, including arrests and the use of force to disperse crowds. The United States and Iran have maintained a complex and often tense diplomatic relationship for decades. Under Trump's previous administration, the U.S. withdrew from the Iran nuclear agreement and imposed significant economic sanctions. The current administration has taken a different approach to Iranian relations, though tensions remain on multiple fronts, including nuclear development, regional influence, and human rights issues. Public protests in authoritarian systems often present difficult questions for international observers. According to foreign policy experts, democratic nations frequently face decisions about how to respond when citizens in other countries demonstrate for their rights, balancing concerns about sovereignty with support for human rights principles. Trump's statement comes amid reports of renewed demonstrations in several Iranian cities. While specific details about the current protests vary across news sources, multiple outlets have documented public gatherings addressing domestic concerns within Iran. In his announcement, Trump indicated that the United States would take action if Iranian authorities respond violently to peaceful protesters. The statement did not specify what form such intervention would take, whether diplomatic, economic, or otherwise. According to political analysts, the lack of specificity leaves room for interpretation about potential U.S. responses. Trump is not currently in government office, though he remains an influential voice in American politics and is campaigning for the 2024 presidential election. His statements on foreign policy continue to generate discussion about how Republican leadership might approach international issues differently than the current administration. The Biden administration has not issued an immediate response to Trump's statement. Official U.S. policy generally supports peaceful protest and human rights globally, though specific responses to situations in Iran have varied based on circumstances and available diplomatic tools. Foreign policy experts have offered varying perspectives on Trump's announcement. Some analysts note that public statements of support for protesters can provide moral encouragement to demonstrators facing difficult circumstances. According to this view, international attention may influence how governments respond to public dissent. Other experts point out that statements from non-government officials can complicate diplomatic efforts. According to this perspective, clear communication channels between governments become more difficult when multiple voices offer different positions on sensitive international situations. Iranian officials have historically responded negatively to what they characterize as foreign interference in domestic affairs. Past statements from Iranian leadership have described international criticism of their responses to protests as violations of national sovereignty. Human rights organizations continue to document events in Iran and call for peaceful resolution of conflicts between governments and citizens. According to these groups, the right to peaceful assembly represents a fundamental human right that should be protected regardless of political system. This situation raises several important questions for American foreign policy and international relations. How should democratic nations respond when citizens in other countries protest for rights and reforms? What tools are available to encourage peaceful resolutions without escalating conflicts? And how do statements from political figures outside government affect ongoing diplomatic efforts? For Americans interested in foreign policy, this situation illustrates ongoing debates about U.S. engagement with countries where human rights concerns exist. Different political perspectives offer different answers to questions about when and how America should involve itself in events beyond its borders. The situation also demonstrates how foreign policy discussions continue even between election cycles, with various political voices offering their perspectives on how America should position itself internationally. The coming days may bring additional clarity about the situation in Iran, responses from various governments, and further statements from American political figures across the spectrum. Public records and official statements will continue to provide information as this situation develops. For now, the discussion centers on balancing support for peaceful protest rights with the complex realities of international relations and the practical questions about what effective support looks like in practice.